Welcome back to a special feature episode of Midnight Double Feature, and on today's episode we're going to be covering the first half of 2018 in film, plus a special review of BlacKkKlansman, directed by Spike Lee. Matthew, how you going?
I am splendid. How are you?
I'm good, dude. I'm good. I'm keen for this episode, keen for this special feature. The audience have no idea what we have in store for them, or rather what you came up with.
So yeah, the basic idea is you just saw BlacKkKlansman.
Yeah, and I'm dying to talk about it. I
want to be honest though, like I saw it at the Sydney premiere, I think it's Australian premiere at the Sydney Film Festival a few months back. So, and it only just got its like major release now. So I'm a little hazy on it. But after we do that and have a good chat about that, we're going to play a little bit of a speed review, like speed dating, but for reviews for the rest of the year. I got the idea.
The first part of the year.
Yeah, for the first part of the year. So that's January to June. Am I correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So I got the idea briefly from very loosely based off another podcast called the Jeff Rubin Show, where I don't think he does it anymore, but he used to do a thing where him and a mate would just talk about the summer movies once summer was over, and they spend 5 minutes on each. We're going to challenge ourselves and try and give our own reviews of each movie under 60 seconds. We haven't prepared. We'll probably fuck up. It should be an interesting experience to just try and review pretty much every majorly released film we've seen this year.
But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. For now, let's talk BlacKkKlansman, bud.
By Spike Lee. What'd you think?
Dude, it was great. It was a good movie. It was powerful. It was really, really well made. It was well done. Like I said, man, I think the best part of it is the acting.
Yeah, I think I'd agree.
Holy shit, man! Like some of the I did not know that was Denzel Washington's son. I watched it with our mutual friend Chris.
Oh yeah.
And we kept turning to each other and we were like, God, doesn't he remind you of Denzel Washington? like I was like, man, seriously, there are some scenes where he looks exactly like Denzel from Training Day. Come to find out, when I got home, which is a 15-minute drive, by the way, I watched it at Dendy in Newtown.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it's a fucking long-ass drive. Chris messages me, sends me a screenshot. So this is why. And it's like literally John David Washington is the son of Denzel Washington, who has starred in 4 of Spike Lee's films. But yeah, man.
4. Wow.
Yeah, 4.
I didn't realize.
I can name you 2 offhand, Inside Man and Malcolm X, but I can't remember the other 2 for the life of me.
I saw Malcolm X, yeah.
But yeah, man, it was a great film. Really, really well written. We're just to put it right at the top, we're going to go straight into spoilers here. If you want a non-spoiler review, check out the Midnight Double Feature page on Facebook. I put up a little review there. Obviously, that's my thoughts on it. Matt might have a different sort of view on it, but either way, it's still going to be unfiltered. I think it's probably just best that we just kind of like dive right into it. My big problem with the movie, I think it was really obvious that it came from one voice, and it was a voice that was really trying to push a message.
Well, you don't really see that message to the end, right?
Wait, no, listen.
Okay.
I knew you'd say that. I think throughout the story, there are like a lot of sequences. And look, I want this on the record. I am not a KKK sympathizer at all.
I would
No
hope
way.
so.
They are. I'm black.
You're pretty brown. Like you're not white at all.
No,
Like
no, I'm not.
like,
But I mean, yeah.
Even if you did sympathize with them, they would not sympathize with you.
Yeah, exactly right. It'll be a one way kind of thing. But
I'm
even
glad
still,
we have this on record.
but even still, like I just, I think the way that the KKK were depicted in the movie, it was a little cartoonish, a little too cartoonish at times.
It's a comedy, though, right?
Yeah, but that's another thing. Like look. Let me get this out, Matt, because I'm never going to be able to get this out.
Do it.
I think the KKK they're a bit too cartoonish for me. Like seriously, there was a scene where we see one of the main antagonists in bed with his wife. And literally the wife's like, "Oh, I just can't believe we're going to be finally able to kill black folk," and I'm just like. Okay, sure, they probably did talk like that and shit, but like, I don't know, I didn't need it. Plus, there was like a whole like that. Look, the montage was awesome, like that dichotomy between, the black congregation. By the way, we're not going to say the N-word. Just throwing that out there. We're just straight up not going to say it. But we can say black because that's a fact. And it's not it's not derogatory, I don't think. There's a difference between like the montage between the black congregation and the KKK. That was a really, really, really awesome scene. But I mean,
are you talking about the one with Trump at the end, or are you talking about another scene?
No. There's a part in the middle where you see like the congregation and like the old man's telling the story and shit. That was cool. But I mean, I could have done without like the Nazis. The Nazis. I mean, they're basically the same thing. The KKK watching the birth of the nation and just throwing the popcorn around and guffawing. I don't know. It felt a little two dimensional for me. And there weren't any. Besides Topher Grace's character, there weren't any KKK members that had nuance to them. I think it was just kind of like a plain Jane sort of look at it. And I think that's part of the issue. The fact that this is a comedy / drama, it is a very hard line to walk. Django walked this line pretty carefully not too long ago. And we talked about it on the podcast, like this kind of like
for 4 hours.
Yeah, for 4 hours. There's kind of like balancing of genres, but I think Django did it a lot better. I don't know why. I haven't really formulated my thoughts on that, but I think there was a lot of moments of comedy in this where I was like, oh, that's a bit, I don't know. Like when you see the servants, the black servants, and he's like, man, if I knew this was a Klan meeting, I would not have come in. I would not have taken this gig. Like, I was just like, yeah, all right, I guess. And then my other problem is the end. That was totally unnecessary. There were 2 moments where I turned to Chris and I was like, oh, okay, that's poking fun at Trump. Like, there are like specific moments in the movie when they point at Trump. Like, I believe Topher Grace once says, "Let's make America great." Or he says like a kind of like it's not the sentence exactly, but it's kind of like that. And I was like, ugh, really? We're going to do that? And then there's this massive montage, not massive, it's about 2 or 3 minutes. And it's like a montage of like real life events and things like that, which is fine. I kind of like powerful endings like that, but we didn't need it. It really wasn't needed, especially the car ramming into the group. Like, I was just like, you're beating us over the head with this, Spike. I mean, just tell your story. Your story was a beautiful piece of art. It was really, really well told, but I didn't really need that. It just kind of like took me out of it. Especially when Trump came up, I was like, do we need this? Do we need this kind of like sort of one person sort of like view on politics? I mean, like, I know this is probably going to be incendiary what I'm saying, but to me as a movie, I just thought that end scene wasn't really needed. But other than that, the movie was great. Really well told. What do you think?
So a few points. Let's get into that ending real quick because it does catch you off guard, but I feel like you might have missed the point there, or what I took from it was different to what you took from it.
Which is fine, which is film.
One of the main the reason I think all that stuff was relevant was because like throughout the film, in little parts here and there, they're planting seeds. Like they're like, oh, the Grand Wizard, he actually wants to leave the KKK and get into politics. He wants to do that. He wants to do this. And then at the end, like when you see that montage, you see the real life version of that guy. He was there at those events. He was saying stuff. And then the reason I think they show Trump there is one, it's heavily implied that, you know, he got to power a lot thanks to the KKK and Breitbart supporting them. Some of his quotes, they even showed it back to back. Like stuff he said was very similar language. Like maybe it was inspired by them, maybe it wasn't. We don't know. And so like, I think the whole point was like how, and like, yeah, it is a one-sided, one-person story. Like, yes, films are usually told through point of view. Why is it not on the same level of Django? It's because Spike Lee will never be Tarantino, but Spike Lee is you know, he's got his, you know, own point of view. And it is based on a true story, and it is a comedy, so they've got to, you know, make someone look dumb, I guess.
I just think the clashing of tones. I mean,
I agree with you. The tone is very different and super unexpected. Like,
just to touch on your point about Trump, and you know the movie planted seeds. I picked up on that. I'm sure most people did. Like, we didn't need an outright, you know, video of Trump. Like, there's a moment where Topher Grace meets with Stallworth. I think it's with Stallworth, or it might have been Adam Driver's character. I can't really recall. But they talk about they talk about you know, politics and like how they eventually want to get into politics and things like that. I turned to Chris and I said, this is getting too real. And then that's when he dropped that line about, you know, making America great.
Yeah. Well, you gotta think like it's based on a true story that wasn't that long ago.
Oh,
like,
it is.
Obviously, it's got a message and it wants to influence people. But that's allowed. Films can have a message. I think what would have made it not so bad, and maybe you might agree with me on this, is that the tone switch was so big, so quickly.
It was jarring. It
went from very comedic to very, like, I describe it to people as it's the only film I've ever seen where I've left with the same feeling of Infinity War, where it's that sense of, but except it's worse because like that sense of hopelessness. It's like there's nothing we can do. I can't believe this happened. The only difference between this is Infinity War is that this is real life. This is some real shit, and that's fucking scary. I am grateful though I saw that because watching that film, I didn't realize that that guy we end up seeing the real version of him and seeing how he influences shit that I saw happen on my TV and my smartphone last year. So I guess from Spike Lee's perspective, that was his overall goal. He was successful with reaching me because it made me aware of that.
I get it.
I wish that they did end with like a joke or something to bring it back to the comedy. Be like, hey, remember it's a comedy, because the whole film, like they changed the tone in the last 5 minutes. I wish that they somehow managed to bookend it so it felt a bit more complete.
Maybe not a joke. I kind of wish it would have ended on the cross burning. Because that's like, we see that and then we cut over to that montage. I mean, the cross burning would have been enough to be like, oh wow, this, you know, no matter what they did, you know, this still happens, you know. It's inevitable.
I think all the Trump stuff shows us how relevant that story was and how it affects today.
But we know that already, is what I'm saying.
Like, I don't know. I feel like that's what hammed it home for me.
Okay.
But you know, agree to disagree. But I think my overall, I did like the film. I agree with you. The acting was the strongest parts of it. There were times where, like, you know, they had that black, what's the phrase, blaxploitation vibe going on with it. But yeah. Like, which I kind of
dug. It knows that. I think it knows that though.
Yeah, like they did it like with like a wink, and I liked how they didn't overdo it. Like there's just a little flavor in there, which I dug. My actually biggest complaint though is I felt like for the first half of the film, I'm laughing, I'm enjoying it, I think it's funny. But then like the second half, I'm kind of like, oh, you're kind of redoing the same joke over and over again. It's like, lol, he doesn't know he's talking to a black guy. Like,
yeah, there's a lot of that.
It
but there also wasn't a lot of payoff, I thought. Like,
I guess
when you get the scenes with them suspecting that, you know, these two are different people, you know, the black guy, like they just die in the fiery car in the car bomb. But I mean, you know, I guess it's real life, so you can't really tie it back. But still, I mean, like I was just a bit like, there's not really, I didn't really feel a payoff from all that.
I got a bit of a payoff, but not from that scene. I got it from when he finally tells him on the phone. Like that got the biggest laugh in my cinema, and that was like it was a cool payoff. But like, would I base the whole movie on that one joke? Probably not. I just wish there was a bit more variety in the types of jokes we got. And the other complaint I have, and I don't know, maybe I missed something. Maybe you can fill me in, but like, I don't get why it had to be a black guy on the phone, but a white guy in real life. Could it have been a white guy the whole time, or could it just have been like I don't know, their voices would sound different, and they did mention that. Oh yeah, I sound different on the phone, but like then they've got to corroborate their stories all the time. They've got to check what they're talking about. It just seems like the whole thing would have made more sense if only one guy did it rather than two people playing the same character. Does that make sense? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Did I miss something?
No, it makes sense. I'm thinking about it right now, and I guess it's just how the true story went down.
Yeah, but I assume in real life they would have thought about this or something. Like, to me, like it's more amazing. It's not the fact that a black guy pretended to be a white guy. It's more amazing that two people pretended to be the same person and no one picked up on it. Well, the main person didn't pick up on it.
I can't really think of a reason other than, I mean, from a story standpoint, it's pretty cool that, you know, a black cop was able to infiltrate the KKK without them knowing and besting the KKK.
Yeah.
You know? Like from a story standpoint, that's awesome. But I guess from a practical standpoint, it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
But like, I guess that's what happened, you know?
I was willing to let it slide. Like,
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you know, it's one of those things where if it doesn't happen, you don't get a movie.
Yeah, exactly. So I was willing to let it slide, but that did bug me a little bit. But I come to think of it, one thing I also liked about this film was I think Spike Lee did a good job of creating suspense.
Yeah,
like,
he does.
I forget that one
very
dude.
Tarantino-esque.
Oh, yeah. I did have a Tarantino vibe actually a bit. But like, you know, that, which maybe that blaxploitation thing comes into play because you can tell Tarantino in the past, I feel like he's had that's had some influence on him somehow. I don't know why.
Jackie Brown, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Like, yeah. But yeah, like the way it builds suspense, like, was it when that guy sort of recognizes him? I forget the name, but whatever. Like, you know, there's a few different scenes throughout the film.
Brucey from The Longest Yard.
Yeah.
I fucking laughed. I was like, it's fucking Brucey. But yeah, like again, that's what I'm saying. It didn't really have a payoff.
Yeah, but there were a few good scenes where like you're worried that he's going to get caught and stuff. I think they did that pretty well too.
I actually kind of half take back about what I said about the acting being the best part. By the way, Adam Driver is great in this. Like he's fucking awesome.
Good. He's pretty good.
I take it back because I think the score is the best part of this movie. I really like
good.
Yeah, I like the electric sort of riffs, the electric guitar riffs. It was fucking awesome, man.
No, I agree with you. Like from what I do remember, like even that I'm not sure it's the opening scene. It's very close to the beginning when he walks Baldwin. In. No, no. Oh fuck! I forgot Alec Baldwin.
That was so weird.
That caught me off guard. I did not know he was going to do that. No, because just after that, when he goes in to become a cop, and he's just looking around. He's like he puts the comb in his fro and stuff. There's like this like real like funky beat going on. I remember like just seeing that straight away, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a fun film. Like, it was the music that caught it for me.
It was fun, but I think that's part of the problem. I don't know. I think he kind of set out to tell a real sort of affecting story, and that's why he ended it that way with that montage. But I don't know. It was a good movie overall, though. It's definitely going to pick up some nominations, I think, at the Oscars.
I said that like the day I said it too.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like Jordan Peele's name is attached to this. He's executive producer. Did you see that?
Yeah.
So there's no way that this won't pick up some nominations, and it should. I think it should, especially for writing. It was actually pretty well written.
The ending
and
is
possibly editing.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll give it that. That ending, it was a very bold choice. It was a risky choice too. Like it could potentially.
Yeah, I don't know how this got made. I don't know how this got an American release with that. That's basically treason.
Honestly, no. I reckon that's why it got made. I reckon that's how they sourced probably private funding and stuff like that. That and having Jordan Peele attached probably helps.
This doesn't have private funding. This is funded by Legendary Pictures.
Yeah, well, maybe they thought it would appeal to the audience. I don't know, their audience or whatever. Who knows? But I actually applaud him by sticking by such a risky choice.
Me too.
Because for me, it paid off. It didn't leave me feeling the way I wanted to in the cinema, and like it's fucking ballsy to do that, knowing you're going to alienate half your audience in the last 5 minutes of your film.
Yeah, but not really alienate. Just kind of. I mean, I feel like when everyone walked out of the cinema, it was a bit of a. It was a weird vibe. What we saw in that last like 2 to 3 minutes, it didn't really jive with what we were seeing in the movie.
That's true. Also, throughout the movie, there are other moments where it's not as bad as what the Meg does, but there are moments where it just goes in the drama and like it caught me off guard. I was like, I wasn't expecting them. I thought it was going to be a straight up comedy through and through.
I heard it was sold to me as a drama with comedy in it, not as a comedy.
Look, I think that's the way it should be sold. But like I went in expecting a straight up comedy, but
kind of like Django, right?
Nah.
Django's a drama with comedy in it. It's not a comedy. It's not an action movie.
Yeah, that's what it is. But like, I went in thinking it was going to be a straight up comedy. But in hindsight, I probably should have guessed because like, look at films like even like Wolf of Wall Street. I don't know why that's the example that comes to mind, but like, that's like based on a true story.
I'd say that's a drama
sold
comedy.
As a comedy. Well, but that movie was sold more comedic, but like obviously it becomes more dramatic throughout the film.
Oh yeah.
So I think that's actually a fair thing to compare it to.
Yeah.
But overall, yeah, man. Give this a film.
Score. Give it a score.
I'm pretty disconnected. You know what? I got to say one thing before I give it a score. My viewing experience of this film might have affected the way I feel about it because I saw it at what's it called? The State Theatre, I think it's called. It sits about 2,000 people. I got tickets pretty late. I was all the way at the back, but
wait! You did something late. That's a surprise.
But
love you, Matt.
But I was above the screen looking down on it. Surprisingly, I could still see it all pretty well. But those seats are so tiny, very uncomfortable. So that might have hindered my viewing experience, but I still overall liked it. There were a few jokes that didn't land, even with our massive crowd. I like the acting. I think it was well. I think it was really well directed. It was put together. Maybe, I'm trying to come up with a score top of my head. Maybe an 8. Maybe a 7.5 to an 8.
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
I gave it an 8 in my review. I think just because for me, just those two problems, just the tone sort of colliding with the dramatic stuff and the sort of real cookie cutter villains and the I guess the agenda that it's trying to push. I mean, look, it's fine to push an agenda in a movie, but this was like a bit too overt. Like you can do it like subtly,
Look, admittedly, I have a bias. I'm pretty anti-Trump. I'm very left.
I think we both are. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very left. But also, the two-dimensionalness, I don't mind it, not because of my political views, but because, like, again, I'm thinking of it as a comedy. And I think you need to do that for comedic purposes at times. And
see, when I watch a movie, I totally disconnect politically. I just kind of like try and look at it as a piece of art as it is, you know,
same.
something that's going to be frozen in time. Like, you know, look at us. We watch fucking Jaws today. That movie's timeless, and that's what 75. So what, 43 years old? Like, you know. It's like frozen in time. So people are going to watch this in 43 years. Is this movement going to be, because this is a movement right now that's happening.
No, but this movement, this film isn't pushing a movement. It's trying to inform people about how it's actually all it's saying is like, hey, the things you just watched in this film, they affect you right. They're affecting you right now.
Hold on. Well, it's not starting a movement or pushing it, but the only reason it got released is because of the Black Lives Matter movement. You got to agree, because there's a reason we haven't seen any other sort of movie that goes into the KKK. Like this came out now because it's out there. Really?
Like maybe that helped, maybe contributed, but like we're living in a very politically correct climate right now and you know what, we're actually even more so, we're living in we're living in an age where people are demanding to see better representation on screen. And everybody loves a good true story. And this was a great story to turn into a film. It's like the concept itself is fucking hilarious. It's like, have you ever hung out with your mates and something fucking insane happens, good, bro, that should be a fucking movie. That's what this is. And it's the perfect time to release a film like this because there are a lot of people connecting with this subject matter. Now, Black Lives Matter is an element of that, but I wouldn't essentially give that all the credit.
I just think that might be the reason why it came out, because I mean, like, there's a reason why those videos in that montage, they were all dated 2017. Like, you know, it's not something like we didn't see 2003. We didn't see, you know, like it's now. It's because there's a movement happening right now.
Yeah, but this script, for all we know, could have been sitting around before, and then they added that stuff into it, you know? We don't actually know. But also, like, it's a good story even without that. It's a good film.
Yeah,
if you take out that scene, the film's still pretty good.
It is, but, I mean, the problem is the scene is in there. Like, I couldn't... that really, like, affected me, like, when I walked out of the movie. Like, in terms of, like, how I viewed the movie, I was like, ugh.
Well, look, it's like they say, good art makes you feel an emotion, whether it's good or bad, you know? And that's what they try and do as filmmakers. I think, though, the overall message is make sure you hate Trump. I think it's meant to say, hey, what you just saw, like, you think, because they end it, it makes you think, oh, they beat the KKK. No, they still exist today, just in a different fashion. And they
just to talk to your point about the script having been around for a few years.
I was probably wrong, but I know, I just made that up.
Oh, no, it's based on a 2014 memoir by Ron Stallworth, so the actual guy it was based on.
Okay.
I fully 100% think that this movie wouldn't have been made if it wasn't for the movement.
I think it probably helped. It probably helped, but when I say the movement, I'm not referring to Black Lives Matter. I'm saying, in general, there's a variety of things that could be one of them. Like, I could list other reasons why. Like, you know, like there's It
was a cool movie. Check it out, guys. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Worth the trip to the cinema. What'd you say, Matt?
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
It's a good watch. It might not be for everybody, but I enjoyed it.
All right, awesome. Yeah, check it out. Let's get to our special feature segment. Well, what makes this episode a special feature?
The 2018 halftime film extravaganza. Speed dating, speed reviews.
As Matt explained, we're going to go through from January to June all the movies that we saw, and basically give a 1-minute review of each movie. And if we both saw it, which there are a few that we've both seen,
most of them.
The minutes are going to be back to back. So basically, just our thoughts on it. But yeah, Matt, we're going to time each other. So it's kind of on the honor system. Matt, don't cheat. You better be doing it 1 minute.
I want to meet the deadline.
1 minute is the challenge. All right.
Yeah, sure.
Tell me when you're ready. I'm going to be saying the movie titles and who the directors are, and that's not counted in the minute.
Yeah, and a lot of these films we haven't seen in so long, so wish us luck. Okay.
Right.
So what's first up? What's first up?
Are you ready? Do you have your stopwatch there?
Oh yeah, but I'll hit it after we announce what it is.
Okay. But starting off in January, first off the rank, Insidious: The Last Key, directed by Adam Robitel.
Okay, and go. It was pretty good. I think my issue with the Insidious franchise, if you're not a fan of the Insidious films, you're not going to be a fan of this one. It's more of the same. I've always felt trouble connecting to the characters in these films, and I feel like the Insidious films are kind of like Drake songs. I like them, but they all kind of sound the same to me, and I can't tell where one starts and one begins and ends. So yeah, it's a lot of that. It was, I think, well directed. There are some legitimate good scares in it. And there's more humor than I expected. There are these two characters who that they work with. I can't remember what they do, but yeah, it's pretty creepy overall. But yeah, it's just more of the same. Does nothing new, but still enjoyable trip to cinema. I got 10 seconds left. I know what else to say, so I'm just gonna do this.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
I'm done. Yep.
Awesome.
I struggled there.
But by the way, we can also use our minutes. Like if I haven't seen it, which I haven't, I can use my minute to kind of like ask you questions about it and shit, or just talk about it in general. Which I am now. I've got 50 seconds left. I haven't seen this. I was put off by Insidious 3, which I was not a fan of. Definitely like the first two. The first one is one of my favorite horror movies of all time, directed by James Wan. The movie was awesome. Matt, if you had to compare it to another horror movie, what would it be?
Fuck, I don't know.
You've got
probably one of the
25
Conjuring
seconds.
films or something, but like,
really?
Yeah,
those are really good.
Well, I feel like I feel the same way about Conjuring as I do Insidious. Like, honestly, the first one's the best, and the others are still pretty good.
There's only 2 Conjurings.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Right.
The spin-offs of the Conjuring, though, they're goodbye. Not interested.
We've got 7 seconds. Oh, but you know what? Let's fucking move on.
Sorry.
The Commuter. The Commuter, directed by Wame Colette Serra. Okay, so this movie, it was weird. I think the definitely the setup of it was awesome. Liam Neeson is awesome in this movie, but here's a pun: the movie went off the rails towards the end. It built tension really well. And by the way, Liam Neeson has worked with this director, Wame Colette Serra, pretty often. He directed Run All Night with him, Nonstop. It wasn't as good as Nonstop. I actually kind of surprisingly dug Nonstop, but the Commuter just it didn't live up to the hype, and it just got really, really far-fetched towards the end. So I kind of just like switched off. But it's decent. Maybe stream-worthy. Check it out. But yeah, not rushing to the cinemas kind of stuff. And there's a minute.
I really wanted to see The Commuter, man. It looked kind of the same as Nonstop. Did it feel very similar to Nonstop, or did it have its own sort of vibe?
It felt very similar.
Yeah, and Jonathan Banks is that. Does he have a really badass scene with Liam Neeson? Because I feel like those two together would be a fucking cool badass moment, like, or something.
To be honest, I can't remember. It must have been forgettable.
Fuck. Jonathan Banks, bro, let me down. Stick to Better Call Saul. All right, you want to move on?
Yeah, sure.
What's next?
So, next, We have The Cloverfield Paradox.
Can you go first?
Yep. So The Cloverfield Paradox, directed by Julius Onah. This movie I was hyped. I remember I was flying back from the States when they announced this. They announced it at the Super Bowl, and it was like, we're going to drop this tomorrow. So me being on a flight for 15 hours, I watched it. I had to sleep for like 24 hours or something crazy like that. And then I watched it, instantly disappointed. I liked the first Cloverfield. I really liked 10 Cloverfield Lane. But this wasn't great. This was really forgettable. I believe this was in development for a while. It might have been actually called God Particle back in the day. And I was really excited to see what they do, but it felt like they had an original story and they just kind of like chucked Cloverfield in there, like slapped it on. But yeah, I was really disappointed about this. Matt, what do you think? That's a minute, by the way.
Before I start, I was going to say you're right. I think that actually is what happened. Same thing they did with that other Cloverfield movie. But starting my go.
You're 40. You've got 45 seconds.
No, I just started now. This is probably one of the most boring films of the year. One of my biggest disappointments. It was so forgettable. I started watching Netflix, which is probably a bad idea. It should have been, because I just watched like 10 minutes, like 20 minutes, and I stopped and I tried to go back, watch more, and then I ended up I actually didn't finish it. I dropped out the last 20 minutes, which I'm told is the best part of the film. Boring concept, forgettable characters. The actors, I guess, were okay. Like, I can't even pretend to be interested in talking about it. Done. 42 seconds.
Black Panther, directed by Ryan Coogler.
Oh my God.
All right, I'll start.
I'm eating pizza, sorry.
I'm starting anyway. So I'm 10 seconds in already. Jesus Christ. I fucking love this movie. I'm probably going to push this to be a feature presentation soon. This is one of my all-time favorite MCU movies. I really liked it the first time around. I watched it with you, Matt. Fucking loved it. And it's not until subsequent viewings that I liked it more. This is one of those rare superhero movies where I'm not a big fan of the action, but I'm really a big fan of like this other stuff. Like, dude, the Game of Thrones stuff that happens, like, and all the ancestry stuff. I fucking love it, man. Ancestry, not incestry. The villains are awesome, man. Killmonger is awesome. Michael B. Jordan is awesome. Chadwick Boseman kills it. This is another great entry into the Marvel franchise. Definitely check it out. Definitely see it. It's an incredible piece of film. That's a minute.
Okay. Black Panther, what's there to say about this film that hasn't already been said? It's arguably one of Marvel's tightest scripts. It's so well written. It's such an interesting universe to explore. All the characters are like, most of it pretty three-dimensional, like even supporting cast. The cast is fucking bonkers. Like, what the fuck? And I'm actually a big fan of the soundtrack as well, which is, I'm a Kendrick fan, so yeah. Honestly, like, I got the feeling from this the same way I felt like Moana, where it's like it's a studio, they're hitting all their usual tropes and cliches, but they're just doing like with a new flavor on top. Actually, Moana didn't do that. This has its own little nice little paint to it, which is, it's just like, here's something fresh but something you've seen before, but so well done. It's just like, these are masters of their craft doing it well. This is Marvel at their best, and probably is definitely my top 3 favorite Marvel films. That's a minute.
Cool.
It's hard to talk about that film in 1 minute. There's so much to praise it for, hey?
Stop interrupting me. We can't talk any more about it. We can't talk. That's a challenge, Matt. That's a challenge.
I miss talking to you. Okay, go.
Game Night, directed by Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daly.
Am I going or are you going?
You know what? Whenever I announce the title, I guess I'll go first, just to keep it fresh. Sure. Starting now. Awesome movie. This was a surprise for me. It felt a lot different than like other sort of like smaller comedies that come out during the year. like this, the cinematography was really good. The soundtrack was really good. I love Jason Bateman. Rachel McAdams is really great in it too. The comedy is fucking awesome. But what surprised me, dude, were the story turns in it.
Yeah.
Like the way the story kind of twisted and turned. Like I watched it with my brother and my dad, and they're like, "Oh, I bet you this happens." I was just like smiling under my fucking, just smiling. I was like, "You haven't. You've got this wrong. You don't know that this is what's going to happen. Like, just trust me." Not to mention that Jesse Plemons. Holy shit, man, he's fucking great in this movie.
Yeah.
Definitely check this movie out. This is a great watch. Matt.
Game Night. I knew I would love this movie from the second sort of trailer. I wanted to love it a little bit more though. Love the unique take of shooting like a thriller or a David Finch sort of type film. The problem though I have with it though is it takes so long to set up the concept of it, which makes a lot of the jokes sort of like, we have to wait to get to them so much. And whenever they're not playing the game, that scenario, it's not as funny. But when they are in that zone in that moment, it's a fucking hoot. It's really fun. Great cast with great chemistry. But you know what? Will I be watching it 5 years from now? Probably not. But it was really fun to watch my first run through, and it's a unique concept with the way that they executed and presented it. So good time, and it's good to see Jason Bateman, another good comedy feature.
Annihilation, directed by Alex Garland. I really love Alex Garland as a writer and director, and he did both with this movie. After Ex Machina and after Dread, I was like really, really hyped for this movie. I was a little bit disappointed though. I think he bit off a little bit more than he can chew. There are some really, really memorable scenes in this, but I still don't get this movie. I've only seen it once, but yeah, there are a lot of themes and concepts in there that are really kind of tough to grasp. But Ex Machina had that too, and after subsequent viewings of that, I definitely came to love it. Awesome cast, really good production values. Really crazy scene with this. I can't remember what creature it was, but that's all I'm going to say about it. By the way, all these reviews are non-spoilery, and that's my minute. Definitely check it out.
Annihilation. So I was a little bit hesitant at first because of for our American listeners in Australia, they were worried about putting it in cinemas, thinking mainstream audiences wouldn't get it and stuff, so they put it straight to Netflix. But dude, this movie is fucking great. This is one of the most high concept, most unique and interesting sci-fi films I've seen in fucking forever. You know what? Probably since Ex Machina. Good cast too. The best Natalie Portman I've seen in a while that I really cared for. But my one little gripe, it's so minor. It's such a minor thing. I don't get why it's a group of all females only. Like, I don't know if maybe I missed something. Tell me if I'm wrong after this, Zoe. But yeah, I didn't understand that. But I kind of like my films to explain things like that. But overall, really enjoyed it. Sorry I wasted so much time on that. Great effects and awesome concepts. Like, actually talking about it now, I kind of want to watch it again. Good film. It did get a little slow in some parts though.
Red Sparrow, directed by Francis Lawrence. I dug this movie. I think it's really, really underrated. It's very violent. Like, that's what it's known for, I think. This kind of got a bad rap when it came out for being too violent, and it is very violent, but I wouldn't say too violent. I think the violence kind of reflects the story that it's telling. This was pretty powerful, and I thought it was going to be a bit more Atomic Blondie, because it is very similar, like a spy movie and things like that. Not to mention, the backstory is basically Black Widow. But it was a really cool movie. It was a tad long. Jennifer Lawrence is great. Joel Edgerton is great. It really is a really good spy thriller. But yeah, don't watch it in front of your parents. It's pretty full on. But other than that, man, it is a good movie. Just a quick plug. I've got 10 seconds left. LSG Media just came out with a new podcast sort of feed called Real Quick. Dean from that podcast just covered this movie. Check it out. That's my minute.
I didn't see that film, but from my understanding from the reviews and stuff, they talk about the violence, but I imagine that would affect the tone. Like, because when that first came out, I was kind of hoping it would be like a more of a fun action film. It's definitely not that, right? Does it feel very grim? Is it very heavy?
Very grim, very heavy, not fun at all.
Wow, yeah. So that's like 2 films back to back J Law's done that's like really not mainstream. Then hey,
what's the other one?
Fucking Mother. That piece of
absolutely.
Garbage. I get it, it's artsy, but whatever. Okay.
Don't talk about it here.
You know, I want to see Red Sparrow though. What's next?
A Wrinkle in Time, directed by Ava DuVernay. Hey, want to hear my worst movie of the year? It's this.
Wow. Okay.
This was a pile of shit. Mainly, it might have been a little bit because Ava DuVernay directed. What did she direct? Something amazing. Selma, I think.
I'll look it up. Go on.
But yeah, it was just really the effects were terrible. The acting was half decent, surprisingly. Chris Pine really turned in a really good performance, but it didn't really have a sense of direction. It felt really cheap, even though I heard the budget for this was massive. There was a lot of hype behind this, by the way. Disney kind of like promoted this really, really heavily. But it just didn't jive with me. It was just really poorly told, really terrible effects. The effects were so bad it took you out of the movie. That's the minute.
Wow. So just to jump in, yeah, you're right. Where is it? Ava DuVernay did. She produced Queen Sugar.
She directed Selma. Yeah.
Yeah, she's more known as a producer, though. It looks like. I didn't realize this was a Disney film. The only little hype I heard for it coming in was that Oprah was in it. Is she any good? Does it matter?
She's terrible.
I kind of want to see it. Let's move on though. So wait, I know how much you fucking hated Tomb Raider. So you're saying this is worse than Tomb Raider?
Yeah, it's worse than Tomb Raider.
Is it worse than Cloverfield Paradox?
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty bad, huh?
Moving on. The Strangers.
Is it boring bad or is it just shit? Okay.
Both.
Oh, that's bad. Okay.
The Strangers, Pray at Night, directed by Johan Roberts.
All right, so you haven't seen this, so I will jump in. Dude, this was the surprise of the year for me. I didn't know this was a sequel. Apparently, the original is a massive film that every horror fan should watch from like the 90s or something. I didn't know this going in. Still haven't seen the original. But this film, like, it's just a good modern slasher. They're very rare these days. And this one, like, it's just a fun horror film. Once the action starts, it doesn't stop. Whenever they get a second to themselves, it's cut off by just these crazy motherfuckers in masks with weapons trying to kill you. It was so fun. It's not perfect, but I don't care because I had such an unexpected good time in the cinema. All I'll say is the pool scene. Holy shit, that's a fucking great scene. It's not going to win any awards, but this is probably the most fun horror film I've seen this year. Not the best, but probably the most fun. 59 seconds.
All right. Yeah. Sorry, I'm going to use my minute here. I could have gone on, but dude. I'm going to use this minute to just punish you. How have you not seen the first Strangers?
I've never even heard of it till this movie came out.
Dude, it wasn't made in the 90s. It was made in 2008.
Oh, my bad. Okay.
By the way, it was actually horrifying when it came out. But now it is kind of a little overhyped. There is like one scene where you see this mask just kind of appear in this kitchen. It's one of the it's just one of those moments in a horror movie that you just don't forget.
Fuck yeah.
And it just kind of stays with you. So, I'm really surprised by that. But I haven't seen this movie.
Take everything I said with a grain of salt. I'm told the first. I told someone this about it on Saturday, and they said pretty much what you said, and they said, "Dude, the first one's even better. Makes the sequel look like a piece of shit." I know it's not the best film ever, but like it was just unexpectedly really fun. But yeah, I'll definitely go watch the first one.
Cool.
And I'm curious to see what the second one steals from the first.
No overlap, Matt.
Man, we gotta have fun. Let's have some fun every now and then.
No, this is a challenge.
Even if it's for 5 seconds. Okay.
This is a challenge. We can't.
What's next? Fine.
Tomb Raider, directed by Raw Uthag. I'm going to start. I hated this movie. This was a piece of shit. You know, when Alicia Vikander came on board, I was like, okay, they're going to break the video game sort of curse, and you know, hopefully this will be good. But nope. It was boring. It was flat. How do you make Walton Goggins look boring? I mean, seriously, this is one of those rare movies that I walked out of. I just really wasn't a fan. It was really flat, just uninspired. And by the way, I'm stopping my review here because I walked out halfway. So this is 30 seconds. Go,
okay. All right. So I'll start my thing. Well, I feel sorry for you because the best part of the film is the last 20 minutes. I feel like that's where the film starts trying to be fun. And that's like, I remember watching and thinking, well, I was in the rest of the movie like this. The biggest problem with this film is it doesn't know what it wants to be. At times it's like this brutal, like disgustingly realistic survival movie where like she's pulling like sticks out of her own flesh. The next minute it's trying to be funny. But whenever it shines the best is when she's just some unstoppable action hero and just running at something and having fun. In those moments, this movie's pretty good, but they're so small in their own little pockets, surrounded just by shit. Shout outs to Alicia Vikander. Oh, correct me after that. She tried, and she was fucking ripped as shit for this film. Good for her. And I don't know, Walter Goggins. I always thought he was kind of bland in Ant-Man and the Wasp. So maybe he's on a losing streak right now. But yeah, overall, this film had so much fucking potential. I have no idea how it ended up like this.
That was a long minute. Are you cheating?
It was 1:10.
Oh, you son of a bitch. Don't do it.
No, well, I had to. I threw in that Walter comment.
All right, next. Pacific Rim Uprising, directed by Steven DeKnight. This was better than the first, but only marginally. I didn't really rate the first. I think, I'm not here to talk about the first. It was fun at points, but obviously nonsensical. It delivered what it kind of set out to do in the trailers. You know, just give you giant robots smashing shit. There was a surprising twist, kind of like to start the third act, which was kind of a bit like, whoa, okay, that was kind of all right, but super forgettable. I'm already forgetting this movie. John Boyega, he's kind of charming in it. I thought it was pretty charming. The CG is kind of okay. You know, it's not amazing, but it's not terrible either. Very, very watchable popcorn flick, I think. But the script is terrible. Matt, you're up.
Okay, Pacific Rim Uprising. I wasn't a huge fan of the first one. I don't know why. I wanted to be. I actually enjoyed this one more. Even though it feels like a massive toy commercial, it fixes a lot of the problems of the first one. It's more aimed at like kids, which is what it needs to be. It's more fun. John Boyega is exactly what this franchise needed. He's so fucking charismatic, even though he's basically playing Finn from Star Wars. I actually liked him better in this film than I liked him in Last Jedi. But yeah, admittedly, it was very paint by the numbers. Nothing we haven't seen before. But I do hope they continue this franchise going forward, which they probably won't. But overall, I did think it was really fun, and it was a better course correction for where I think Pacific Rim needs to go. And props to them for that. Fun popcorn film, but you won't be talking about it 3 years from now.
Ready Player One, directed by Steven Spielberg. Really, really dug this movie the first time I saw it. I watched it again recently when it came out on home video. Really dug it again. This thing's awesome. I mean, as far as adaptations go, I read the book, so I wasn't. I know a lot of people kind of let down, but I wasn't let down. I really liked this movie. This was a great, really fun action popcorn flick. Also delivering kind of a few surprises, like The Shining. That whole kind of like 15-minute sequence,
Right.
really good, man. The effects are fantastic. All the references, it's all kind of like mind blowing kind of thing. It's just a really, really fun time. It's not Steven. It's not top tier Steven Spielberg, but you can definitely tell it's made by Steven Spielberg. It's just a fun film. Definitely check it out. It was fun, and it was a lot better than I expected it to be, which was pretty high. I mean, I had high expectations. Matt, you're up.
I didn't love this film as much as a lot of other people did, but I still really liked it. It felt like that classic Spielberg, which I have missed, where it's like, you get the same thing from like Super 8 or E.T. or probably 30 other films I'm forgetting right now. It's just like kids just being kids up against the world, against the big evil man. That's fun. I feel like we're getting a lot of different Spielbergs these days. He's known for a lot of things. This is a nice way of move like his sort of animation side with like his like, that classic adventure side. And we haven't there's not many like action adventures like with emphasis on the adventure lately. So that I really like that. It was a bit of a nostalgia trip for that. As a fucking nerd, I kind of wanted the background references to be a bit more in your face, but to each their own. People might disagree with me on that. Did enjoy them too. Good character work. Overall, good storytelling. Not Spielberg's best, but it was a fun ride.
A Quiet Place, directed by John Krasinski. This is hands down one of my favorite movies of the year. It was incredible. It was just a really, really cleverly told story. It's this year's Get Out, I think. Hopefully it'll pick up a few Oscar nominations. Like we said, man, John Krasinski, aka Jim from The Office. This is his first directing movie. Jesus Christ, I can't talk. Emily Blunt, his real wife. Really, really great chemistry in the movie. Some really clever ideas. Really, I can't praise this movie higher. The way it uses sound and tension, it's just really clever. Even the child actors are really great. It's just a really good horror movie. I can't praise it any higher.
My turn?
Yep.
Yeah, hands down, best horror film of the year that I've seen. Loved A Quiet Place. I kind of disagree with you a little bit there. I don't think it has what the Academy wants for Oscars. If it does have anything, it might be in the sound department, like mixing or editing. But yeah, amazing acting and casting. Really good, tight script. I actually wouldn't mind if it was a little bit longer, but that maybe is just me being greedy. I'm nervous about them doing a sequel, but overall, man, like if you want to see a good horror film this year, see A Quiet Place. Other people have toyed around with the concept of sound, like Don't Breathe, and there's another one that's not coming to my mind, and I've got 15 seconds left. Yeah, overall, fuck yeah, A Quiet Place. If you like horror, watch that shit.
Blockers, directed by Kay Cannon. This was a lot better than I thought it would be. It was really, really funny. Actually, I wouldn't say really, really funny. I'd just say funny. It actually told a kind of deeper story than I thought it would. Just in regards to all three of the sort of character arcs and moments, I really, really liked it. It was John Cena is great in it. He's had comedy chops for a while. Check him out in Sisters if you haven't seen it. It was just a clever little comedy. I've got no other words for it. I mean, it had its negatives. Like I think there's just a few too many sort of slapstick jokes and shit like that. And the kids were a little bit annoying, but you know what? Whatever. Just I can let that pass. Some really funny jokes. Hannibal Buress. Holy shit, he's fucking funny in it. He just plays his clever kind of like deadpan self. But yeah, Matt, what do you think?
Where's my timer? So Blockers, I knew I was going to like it from get-go. I really love that American style, like real punchline type humor. I have to disagree with you with John Cena. I think he's probably the weakest part of this film, even though his star recognition is probably one of the biggest draws to it. I just don't buy him in a lot of, he's really trying though. So I'm not, but yeah, I don't know. Who stole it from me? Leslie Mann. Holy shit. Best I've seen her do. I'm going to butcher this name. Ike Barinholtz, I think it's called. He has a fucking amazing scene that he crushed, which I did not see coming, and I love that. But he was also just fucking hilarious throughout the whole film. I like the moral of the story and the way they all that sort of stuff together. Actually, I like the kids. I thought the kids were pretty good overall. I think this is it goes to show too, like this new progressive type of dick joke humor comedy. We're seeing a bit more of it now. Like Bad Neighbors 2 is another example. I'm digging it. It's modern. It's funny. It's cool. I like the cast mostly though. But yeah.
Beirut, directed by Brad Anderson. I don't think anyone's heard of this movie. It's called The Negotiator in the UK and the US, I think. It's starring John Hamm and Rosamund Pike, written by Tony Gilroy, who wrote the Bourne movies. It's a pretty good movie. It's a true story. It's centered around events, but the story itself isn't true, but it's pretty compelling. It's about a CIA kind of officer who's called into Beirut to kind of negotiate the release of his colleague, his former colleague. It's really, really clever. There's a lot of tense moments and things like that. A lot of spy CIA shit. But John Hamm, man, this guy is awesome. This guy needs to play Bruce Wayne. Definitely check this movie out. It's pretty well rated. I think it's 82. It's 82 on Rotten Tomatoes. So yeah, it's really, really, really well done movie.
Yeah, I'm with you there, man. I've never heard of it. Where'd you see it? Was it in the cinemas or?
Yeah, it was in the cinemas.
Oh.
I actually saw it recently, probably a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, snap. So would it still be out or nah?
I doubt it. It's a smaller movie.
Right. And you said it was like based around like events that happened, but around. So it's just sort of like that.
Yeah. So it's
that
kind
Boston
of
movie. What's it called?
Yeah, Patriots Day. But that was all. That was pretty much no. That's less of that though, because this is a fictional story with the characters. The characters are fictional, whereas the characters in that were real. This is the fictional characters in this, and the kidnapping is fictional, but the war-torn Lebanon obviously is real, and like the Civil War and shit like that is real. So
right,
yeah.
Cool. All right, what's next?
Rampage, directed by Brad Payton. Yeah, kind of forgettable. As a fan of the game, Rampage World Tour on PlayStation 1 was my first PlayStation games ever. I think it was actually the first with Need for Speed. So seeing Lizzie, Ralph, and God damn
George,
it, I can't. George, yes.
Yeah.
Seeing them storm a city all in one shot, that was fucking awesome. Not the greatest use of The Rock. I think this was one of his weaker sort of like performances, even though he's not really a performer, he's more of a presence. It was kind of fun for the runtime. The villains are atrocious. Really, really poorly written. I don't know why you need human villains when there's 3 monsters, but okay. CG, meh. But kind of fun. But yeah, I don't know, Matt.
So Rampage, it's barely based on the video game, but I hate to say it, but maybe one of the better video game movies I have seen. The star of the show, really, the best person in it is George, who isn't even
Agreed.
a real person. His heart is really there, and it's really meaningful. The Rock does what he can with what he has. That being said, I'd much rather see The Rock in movies like this than was it fucking Skyscraper, what it's called. Yeah, man, overall, has some of the worst dialogue I've ever heard, especially from the villains. It's potentially up for a Razzie, I would say, in terms of dialogue and script. But you know what? Those CGI fights were fun. Cinematography wasn't the best, but it was okay, I guess. Look, it was a fun popcorn flick that's forgettable, but you know what? If you need something to watch, it's in the cinema. That was pretty good. But yeah, just popcorn flick. Get what you get.
Truth or Dare, directed by Jeff Wadlow.
You haven't seen this one, have you?
No, you're right.
Holy fucking shit. Me and my friends laughed at this film the whole fucking way through. This is fucking trash. The worst fucking. Every character looks like when they turn evil, they have like a Snapchat filter on their face. I actually like the ending though. It had a pretty cool ending, which was interesting. But overall, like there are huge gaps in logic as well, which is like I try to have a suspension of disbelief, but just not in this. It's kind of like if It Follows was fucking shit and wasn't fucking great. I don't know. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. It was so forgettable, and the only people who are going to watch it's like, look, admittedly, it's probably more aimed at like 14-year-olds. It's like my first horror film, but yeah, it was lame.
I Feel Pretty, directed by Abby Cohn and Mark Silverstein.
You haven't seen this one either?
Nope.
Cool. So, starring Amy Schumer, not as good as Trainwreck. The biggest problem with this film is that I think it's PG. So like you're taking away Amy Schumer's biggest strength, which is like her crude humor. But you know what? I saw this with a female friend of mine who said this script was exactly the same as The Devil Wears Prada. Was it Devil Wears Prada? I think so. Yeah, I haven't seen it. So it's very painted by numbers, but there's a very good message there for young girls out there. And but overall, I generally found it funny. It had some good laughs in it. It was actually well put together, and I did enjoy it. I wish it was M though. I wish it was M. I wish she just swore a little bit more. It's a little bit too perfect as a young teen chick flick, but yeah, not bad. It's not Schumer's worst film. It's probably the second best that I've seen her in.
Avengers: Infinity War, directed by Joe and Anthony Russo.
I didn't see this one.
Perfection. Matt, you're up.
Also perfection. If you want to hear more, watch the fucking podcast that we did on it. We fucking loved it.
Or listen to it.
Oh, nah, just stare at your phone for hours while the audio plays. Do we need to talk about Avengers? Everyone knows that we fucking loved it, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, moving on.
Deadpool 2, directed by David Leitch. Not as strong as the first Deadpool. I think it was really problematic. The high point was Cable. Josh Brolin really brings a presence. I think, their pairing was good. I just think there was a lot of sort of story stuff here that was just like a bit meh. I didn't really dig the whole Terminator ripoff kind of stuff. I mean, sure, I guess it's taken from the comics, but I'm sure you can retrofit it to be something else. It didn't really have to be this guy had to travel back in time to kill this kid. Didn't really need to be that. Ryan Reynolds is in top form, man. This is his character. This is basically Robert Downey Jr. being Tony Stark. He's built for this character. It was a little bit forgettable. I'm forgetting parts of it now. Thumbs down on Juggernaut. Didn't dig it. The CG was terrible. Matt, you're up.
Deadpool 2. Yeah, not as strong as the first. I like to compare it to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. It's technically a better film, I guess, but the magic's gone because it's not the first time. Ryan Reynolds is Ryan Reynolds. What's the guy? Fire Fist, whatever his name is, the actor's name. Do you know it? Do you know it? What is it?
No.
Okay, whatever it is, he's fucking great. Look, I think the problem with the Deadpool films is that you go in like thinking a comedy, and then you remember, no, it's also like a movie, and they have story, they have character development, and which is not bad. Look, it's a lot of it's like good sketch comedy, but at times, but like honestly, the best part of the film is the end credit sequences, which are great. But what does it say about your film? It was an interesting take in the direction of this film and the character. I liked how the marketing sort of tricked you into thinking it was going to be a different type of story. Disagree with what you said about Cable. Love the chemistry, but I think the Domino thing worked okay. Overall, I liked it, but the first one was better. Also, side note, before we go on, did you see that deleted scene from Deadpool 2
did.
that came out. Fuck.
It wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad, but it was funny. I kind of wish they kept it in. Moving on.
Solo, a Star Wars story directed by Ron Howard. It's funny saying directed by Ron Howard.
Yes.
Good movie. Really good. This was fantastic. This was actually a lot better than we thought it would be. It's not perfect, but Alden Ehrenreich really played a good young Solo. It was fun. It was just a fun adventure movie. Like, people just can't seem to get their heads out of their own asses and just admit that it was fun. People are like, no, my Star Wars, yeah. But you know what? Just fuck you, man. Like, seriously, it was fun. It's just a rollicking, old school, fun adventure movie with great characters, and all I can think of is fun. That's it. That's plus, amazing cameo.
Yes.
Matt, you're up.
Okay, Solo. I only saw it once in the cinemas. Maybe watching again might change my mind a little bit, but this is the fucking best film ever for fan service. Like, every fucking scene is just like, maybe it's a little winky, maybe some people weren't like that, but for me, I had so much fun. Me and Zoheb saw us together, and we had smiles ear to ear the whole time. Like, and like, can you believe they just did that? Oh, that was so cool that they did this. Love the way, oh man, Donald Glover steals every fucking scene. In fact, there's a scene where he flies off the Falcon, leaves like Solo and everyone there. And me and Zoe would joke that, like, yeah, they wrote him out of the script because he's stealing too many scenes. It's so great. Also love Paul Bettany as the villain. He was great. Overall, I thought this was a pretty cool film. I liked the script. I liked everything about it. And I really hope they go ahead with what they were saying about making this trilogy. I don't know if that's confirmed or not, but I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I want to see more.
Upgrade, directed by Lee Winnell. You and Colin, between your guys' reactions, this is you guys really kind of like pushed me to say this. This was fucking fantastic, man. This was like clever, and the action was really cleverly done. I barely had any issues about this movie. Oh, and by the way, Straya
can't.
Directed by an Australian, filmed in Australia. Like, it's such a good movie. It's really clever. Did not think it was going to go the way it actually went. It just really surprised me, and it's I think it's a hidden gem this year. More people should definitely check it out. That's me.
Yeah, Upgrade is definitely one of the surprise sleeper hits of the year. Again, I just got to touch on what you said because it's so fucking inspiring to me. Shot for under $5 million, shot in Melbourne, Australia, edited in Sydney, Australia. And I look at that color grading, it reminds me of a film I did. And like, as someone I know, I do short films, and that like fucking inspires me. It's like, this is the shit I want to do. One day I want to be that in 5 years or something, like that's amazing to me. Or maybe 10 years, but 20. But yeah, that's so great. I can't believe it was done for so cheap. The CGI is great in this. I love how they took that trope of like Iron Man speaking to you or whatever, and sort of twisted it in a unique way. The cinematography is fucking bonkers good. So good. The world building, fucking amazing. I hope to God this becomes a franchise. This is such a breath of fresh air, the way it's all just executed. If you had a chance, see Upgrade, man. It doesn't have the budget of those $10 billion films, zillion-dollar films out there, but it's fucking good. I loved it.
Ocean's 8, directed by Gary Ross. Jesus Christ, I fucked that up. Yeah, didn't dig this. It was it literally felt like scene for scene like Ocean's 11. Like it didn't feel, I mean, I'm not one of those people who are like, oh, this movie's unnecessary. I mean, if you can, I like seeing other people's takes on things, so I don't really mind remakes. But it just didn't feel that inspired. I think it tried to feel like it was being clever, and in the end, like there were just no stakes. It didn't feel like I was watching anyone about to lose at anything. They all just felt like they were on God mode, to talk gaming terms. But it was just really, really flat. I remember, I think I did this. I did a review on the LSG page. Gave it a 4, I think. Really, really not that great. And I don't know. There's really no other word for it. It just didn't really move me.
I didn't see this film, but in my defense, I haven't seen any of the Ocean's films. I'm not really interested. I don't really care for them. What I will say though is we've got to mention earlier. We as you heard, our mini reviews of Deadpool 2 and Solo. If you want to hear more about them, we have done breakdown, like quick little podcasts on them as well. So go through the previous episodes and you can find them if you want to hear our thoughts and more. Let's move on to the next one. A bit of little promotion there. Yeah.
Nice. Hereditary, directed by Ari Aster. So I want to apologize to Ari Aster because when we kind of did like a quick review, I kept calling him Ari Lister. Do apologize. Good movie though. Really, really dug this. It was really, really well made. Like in terms of atmosphere, it's been a while since I've seen a movie that builds atmosphere so well. It's very atmospheric, very, very claustrophobic. It feels like you're seeing one sort of portion of the world. Like, you're just kind of like seeing this family kind of go through these motions and what's affecting them, what's happening with them. Toni Collette nominate this woman for an Oscar right now because she's incredible in it. And I think it's going to give me nightmares. Like there is a sequence that they use lighting really well, and the cinematography is fantastic. I did think the end was a bit, but it's definitely a really, really good, unique horror movie. Check it out.
I agree with you that it is a very unique horror film, but unfortunately for me, it was a bit of a swing and a miss, to be honest. I felt like the pacing was off and it took so long to get to the good stuff. That being said, I know that's like kind of a shot at the director, but if you ignore that, I actually really like the way this film's directed and the way they treat acting and they treat like such serious themes they tie into horror. I really do respect the concept and what they were putting together there. And like you said, as Toni Collette, the mum in this film, like she was amazing. Like there's some long, crazy good monologues that were just really powerful. And that's the best part about the film. A lot of it to me though, it's a lot of like, yeah, it's depressing. It's meant to feel that way, but a bit of a swing and the miss, especially when it comes to the pacing and stuff. I just want it to be more of a horror film and I want it to scare me more than depress me. Yeah.
Fair enough. Incredibles 2, directed by Brad Bird. This movie was incredible. Seriously, man, it picks up. I made you watch Incredibles recently because I was like, yeah, the fuck haven't you seen Incredibles? And this movie takes place immediately after the ending of the first one, and it feels like it doesn't even miss a step. When in real life, it's been 14 years. It's really clever. It's really well directed. The dialogue is fantastic. The action sequences are, I know they're not shots because it's animated, but it's really kind of like well done. I can imagine the storyboards for this being absolutely awesome. So it's really, really clever movie. Pixar are at the absolute top of their game lately. I mean, following Coco, Inside Out, I mean, they're just back after a couple of missteps. They're just they're fucking killing the game.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I only just saw the first one. I think you can call them shots though. Yeah, but I'll see it soon, I guess.
Nice. Tag, directed by Jeff Tomsich. Kind of forgettable. It was, I remember a few laughs here and there. It actually told a much sort of deeper story than I thought it would. Just in terms of, I'm not going to go into it just in like for spoilers, but the way it ended, I wasn't expecting it to end the way it ended. Pretty crazy. This is a true story as well. Jeremy Renner, fucking great in this movie. This is where Hawkeye's been, I guess. But yeah, man, I thought it was a funny movie. A little bit forgettable, but really, really cool ending. Really dug the ending. What do you think?
I really like the concept. When I first saw the trailer, I was really hyped. Didn't live up to my expectations per se. Love the ending though, and the way it all puts together. To be honest, I didn't love Jeremy Renner in this film. He's something about him. He's too perfect for comedy. I can't explain, but I guess that was his character. But overall, I did dig it. I preferred Blockers over this. There aren't a lot of films with this style of humor out this year, so far. But yeah, I know I enjoyed it. It was a good time. When I watched it again, I'm not sure, but overall, I liked it.
Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, directed by J.A. Bayona. This was also one of my worst not favorable movies of the year. I hated this thing. I actually kind of dug Jurassic World, the first one. It was a fun adventure romp, and I really liked seeing the park open for the first time. It was really, it was good. It was fun. It was fun. This was just boring. I was not interested in the dinosaurs. I was not interested in the way it became just basically a horror movie in a mansion. There were some really, really dumb decisions. The CGI is a bit spotty. We barely get Chris Pratt. We barely get good Chris Pratt. Bryce Dallas Howard is boring. It just completely killed the franchise for me, to be honest. I hate this movie. Even the way it ended, just was not a fan.
Yeah, this movie has a lot of swings and misses. It feels like it's two films sticky taped together. I kind of wish they had one film about evacuating the island and a separate film about the mansion house, because it just feels like such a downgrade going from this island exploding to, oh no, there's a dinosaur in this little house. Like, I don't know, man. It was. I'm also really over Jurassic Park doing this whole, we create a new dinosaur thing. Like, it's two films in a row, man.
Oh,
now,
for sure.
Like, it just feels so unoriginal. It feels like they rushed the script. And also, the problem with these last two films is, like, they're not characters. Like, name something interesting about Chris Pratt. He can talk to velociraptors and that's it. He's got no redeeming character traits or anything. Just the middle section of this film is so boring and such a drag. But on either end, it's two really good action scenes. So the pacing is way off. Pacing fucked over this film so hard. It's a huge swing and a miss, but it could have been something. It could have been something.
And finally, Sicario, Day of the Soldado. So the first Sicario is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's actually my favorite movie of all time. I was really worried that Denis Villeneuve wasn't coming back. But, the writer Taylor Sheridan was coming back. But as far as unwanted sequels go, this is pretty good. Benicio's back. Josh Brolin's back. He's had a busy year this year. It's really, really well directed. Really surprised. Stefano Salim is actually directing the Call of Duty movie coming out.
Stupid idea.
Yeah, dumb idea, but still, it was a good movie. It really dove deep into Benicio's character, which I didn't initially want, but I liked where we went. And I was kind of really surprised. I was kind of surprised by some sequences. There were a lot of moments where they did try to kind of emulate the standout scenes of the first one. But, they weren't as well executed, but they were still really watchable, really good. And that's it, Matt. That's all we have. We've got a short list here of movies that we both didn't see but wanted to watch. They all belong to you. So we're an hour and 25 minutes already, so let's kind of speed through these.
Just list them off.
Yeah, so Den of Thieves.
Den of Thieves seemed like a really great concept, featuring two actors I never thought I'd see next to each other. Seems interesting. Can't believe they've already greenlit it for a sequel. I know what to expect from this one, but I want to check it out as soon as I can.
Sorry, Den of Thieves. That's. I just want to list the director.
Ice Cube's son and
Christian Gudegast is the director.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, I just don't want to let the director's name go by. That's all. Early Man, directed by Nick Park.
Just the Wallace and Gromit creator did this, and I'm a fan of animation. I hear it got bad reviews though.
Death Wish, directed by Eli Roth.
People were they were hyping this up to be like the comeback of Bruce Willis, but it got shit reviews. Still keen to see it.
Reviews.
Apparently it's a remake though. Again, I didn't see the original. Apparently though, this misses, just like the RoboCop reboot, apparently this misses the point of the first one from what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I heard that as well, actually. Isle of Dogs, directed by Wes Anderson. This is out of all of the ones on this list, this is the one I most wanted to see. Unfortunately, I just haven't got around to seeing it. I'll definitely see it eventually down the line, though.
This film, this is why we did this segment. It's because I was like, Zoe, people are going to murder us if we don't at least mention Isle of Dogs. I actually wanted to see it. There was a screening where you could bring your dogs to the screening. I really wanted to go to that, but then something popped up and I couldn't go. But it got great reviews. It looks great. I can't wait to see it.
And finally, Action Point, directed by Tim Kirkby.
Yeah, man. I love the fact that it's loosely based on a true story, but Johnny Knoxville, man, I like him. I was a big fan of Jackass. I don't think it came out in Australia because I saw trailers and stuff, but I've been waiting for it to pop out and I haven't heard much about it. Have you heard anything about it?
No, I'm not sure if it got an Australian release.
Yeah, that's weird because his films usually do pretty well.
I'm looking it up now. Yeah, it's got no release date in Australia, so it didn't come out.
Maybe if we're lucky, we'll get it later, but I doubt it. I
doubt it's too late now.
Yeah.
But
it's honestly, it's a film I'd only want to watch in the cinema. I can't imagine me sitting at home watching it.
Yeah,
It looked fun,
dude. I had fun with this episode, with this segment. This is good. We were talking about off air. We're going to be probably down the line be doing this after every kind of 6 months. So kind of like recap the first half of the year, second half of the year.
Yeah, and that's why we left out July, even though we're in August.
Yeah,
there's at least I think 3 or 4 other films we could have included here
for sure. I'd definitely like to get people's kind of feedback on this. It'll be really cool to see what other people think of this episode and these kind of like special features and things like that. I usually try and I wanted to kind of like reserve special features for guests and things like that, but I do like this. I mean, this is really cool. When you suggested this, I was on board. So, and you know me, I'm really tough to convince. So
yeah, it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed this
for sure. But this is, I'm happy with this runtime, Matt.
Yeah. We also didn't see Super Troopers 2. That looked good.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen the first, but Matt, sign us off. Tell us where we can find you.
If you want to find me, Instagram at Velomat, on Facebook, Velomat Films. Zoheb, if we want to find Midnight Double Feature, where can we find Midnight Double Feature?
We are on Facebook. We've got 2 pages on Facebook, Midnight Double Feature and The After Party. We're on Instagram at Midnight Double Feature. We're on YouTube. Just type in Midnight Double Feature, Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, you name it. Our episode on Split, the feature presentation has been delayed a little bit, only because it's my fault. I ran into a bit of sort of scheduling problems and I wasn't able to record on the weekend, but we've got that coming up. Definitely. We're pretty keen to talk about that movie. And I know Colin's got some shit, some surprises and shit like that. And we as a group, have something in the tank. So, really keen to get that out there. Matt, say goodbye to the kind listeners.
Laters.
Thanks for listening, guys. Catch you next time.
Play that motherfucking outro music. I'm sorry, but don't include that.